Part 3 of the Stettynskloof Pass covers the section from the 9th to the 14th kilometer. If you intend driving this pass, it's important to watch parts 1 and 2 first, which include the Google Earth animations, as well as other important information pertaining to safety, tourism, history and technical matters. On the far side of the river, where it forms some beautiful rock pools and where one of the lovely campsites has been located, bears the name of Droster's Hut, undoubtedly so named as this must have been where those who deserted their military posts used this as a watering and bathing point. This lovely spot is supplemented with water from a ravine on the western side of the kloof known as Stettynskloof. At the 10-kilometer mark, there's a distinct change in topography as the kloof narrows perceptibly and the routing of the road becomes more convoluted with many changes in altitude. Although for many, the ever-present twin irrigation pipes might seem a bit in your face, rather consider the complex engineering that has gone into the scheme and note the many changes in altitude as the pipelines have been built to cope with the changes in gradient and the many pressure release vents are visible along the entire length of the pipeline. Sometimes it's on the left, sometimes above the road, sometimes on the right, sometimes below the road and even under it. Most people think that Worcester's main dam, the Brunfleigh Dam, is fed by the Breda River, but the truth is that the Breda River is actually lower in altitude than the dam. The Holsloot Rivier and the next river to the northwest, the smaller Smalblaar Rivier, both form a confluence just north of Rawsonville, then flow into the Breda River. Well, they used to pre-1955. As part of the Breda Kloof irrigation scheme, the two rivers were blocked off just after their confluence and a canal was built that takes the water through a sharp right-hand bend via a deep canal directly into the east under the tarred R43 to flow directly into the Brunfleigh Dam. If you study the inflows to this big dam, it soon becomes obvious that the canal is the primary water source that feeds the dam. Another point of interest is that the dam a little further to the southeast of the Brunfleigh Dam, close to the maximum security prison, is known as Stettynskloof Dam and is separated by a thin earthen wall from the Brunfleigh Dam. The whole irrigation scheme was cleverly conceived and a great success, with perhaps its biggest downfall being that it has a big surface area and is not very deep, which makes it prone to evaporation. A gravity-fed canal system flows from the north at a weir in the Breda River for almost 8 kilometers and joins another canal at the Stettynskloof outlet to form a much longer canal that irrigates farms to the southeast, which is almost 20 kilometers in length. The entire system forms part of the Breda Kloof irrigation scheme and has contributed enormously to the success of the region as a productive farming zone. The water resources of South Africa are vital to the health and prosperity of all its people, the sustenance and natural heritage, and its economic development. Water is a national resource that belongs to all the people who should therefore have equal access to it, and although the resource is renewable, it is finite and distributed unevenly both spatially and temporally. The water also occurs in many forms that are all part of a unitary and interdependent cycle. The major water user sector is agriculture, which requires 684 million cubic meters, or 61% of the total consumptive water requirement. The next biggest water user is alien vegetation, which consumes 16% of the total. The geology of the Breda River Basin has a strong effect on the quality of the water resources in that much of the runoff is generated in the sandstones of the mountain ranges and is generally of a high quality with a low total dissolved salt content. However, its quality deteriorates when it reaches the main river channels because it then mixes with saline water draining from shales and mudstones of the lower lying ground. Water quality in the Holsloot is pure. As you approach the 13-kilometer mark, the mountains get ever steeper and the routing of the road more challenging. This big left-hand bend is known as Afzaal, a place to dismount from your horse and stop for a water break in the old days. There are deep ravines scoured out of the mountains on both sides of the kloof. To your left is Fynboskloof and on the far side is the Afzaal Plek Kloof. If you're up to bushwhacking down to the river, there are magnificent rock pools at the spot, which offers relief in the hot summer months. But it's usually the fly fishermen who enthusiastically wade into these deep pools to catch the beautiful rainbow trout. Remember to watch parts 4 and 5 of the Stettynskloof Pass.